Ladies and gentlemen and distinguished guests, good morning. Welcome to Joint Task Force Civil Support Headquarters. Today we welcome you to the building dedication ceremony for Mullan Hall in memory of Captain Michael D. Mullan. He was a United States Army officer and a New York City firefighter. A fallen hero in the line of duty during the terrorist attacks of the World Trade Center on September 11, 2001. He demonstrated his faithful service to his country, the United States Army, and the Fire Department, New York. Major General Jonathan T. Tracy is proud to preside over today's ceremony. We would like to take time to introduce you to Captain Mullan's family and friends. His mother, Mrs. Teresa Mullan. His sister, Kelly Ann. His brother, Patrick, with sister-in-law, Anne Marie, and nephew, Patrick Jr. Mrs. Mullan's godson, Frank, and family friends, Mr. and Mrs. Dowd. Representing the Fire Department, New York, we welcome Battalion Chief Thomas McCarthy and Miss Evelyn Tesoriero, Senior Program Officer of Family Assistance Unit, New York City Firefighters. We ask all New York City firefighters, along with firefighters from local Fort Eustis, City of Newport News, Hampton, and York County to stand at this time and be recognized. We sincerely thank you for your great service to our nation. Thank you. You may be seated. Attending today's ceremony on behalf of the Commonwealth of Virginia is the Honorable Bobby Scott, Congressman representing the 3rd District of Virginia, along with House of Delegates 94th District Delegate, the Honorable David Yancey. I'm Major Shannon Shaw, and it's my honor to be Master of Ceremonies this morning. Please rise for the arrival of Joint Task Force Civil Support Building Dedication Official Party and remain standing for the National Anthem and the Invocation. The presiding official for today's ceremony is Major General Jonathan T. Tracy, Commander, Joint Task Force Civil Support. Representing the Commonwealth of Virginia, the Honorable Bobby Scott, Congressman, 3rd District. Representing the Fire Department, New York, is Battalion Chief Thomas C. McCarthy. Representing our fallen hero, Captain Michael D. Mullan, is his mother, Mrs. Teresa Mullan, on the occasion of the Joint Task Force Civil Support Building Dedication at Mullan Hall. The chaplain for today's ceremony is Major Scott Daniel, Installation Family Life Chaplain, Fort Eustis. Color Guard, march on the colors. The invocation is being delivered today by Major Scott Daniel, Installation Family Life Chaplain, Fort Eustis.
Let us pray. Most wonderful God, we gather on this day that you have made and appointed, and we give you thanks for it. Lord, our purpose today is to honor the courage and sacrifice of one of our own. We thank you again for the life and work of Captain Michael Mullan. We know that many were helped and encouraged through his work and his desire to serve. We know that many more have been inspired by his sacrifice. Lord, as we dedicate this building today, we ask for that kind of inspiration to rest upon all who will serve here, and that we would remember it always. Lord, we know that Captain Mullan was not the only one who gave himself on that day. We thank you that we live in a land that is blessed and continues to create men and women such as this, in a place where uncommon valor is a common virtue. We are proud to be associated with them and ask for the continued courage and strength to serve fully and to serve every day. We ask your blessing now on all assembled here. Continue to soothe and comfort those who knew Captain Mullan and miss him still. Bless all who will serve here and all who will benefit by that service. Bless each one who is far away from family and friends right now. Lord, bless this land and this people. Bless our leaders and our nation. And for all of these things, we will be ever thankful. Amen.
Color guard, march off the colors. Major General Jonathan T. Tracy, Commander, Joint Task Force Civil Support, will provide opening remarks at this time. Please take your seats.
Well, good morning, everyone. Well, that was excellent. Good morning, everyone. All right. Thank you very much. Welcome to this dedication to heroism and service before self. I'm very pleased to be here and thrilled that you are as well. It's a wonderful crowd assembled here. Thank you all, especially to the Mullan family, Mrs. Mullan, for being here. As we dedicate the Joint Task Force Civil Support Headquarters to the memory of Michael Dermot Mullan. He's a decorated New York City firefighter, emergency room nurse, and U.S. Army Reserve officer. I can think of no one who is better suited to dedicate the memory to our mission of Joint Task Force Civil Support. Allow me to take a moment to recognize our special guests. The Honorable Bobby Scott, Congressman. Delegate David Yancey of the 94th District. Battalion Chief Tom McCarthy. Major General Mrs. May, thank you for being here. Major General Retired Mrs. Davis, former Joint Task Force Civil Support Commander. Brigadier General Dave Howe and Colonel Weatherington. Thank you very much for being here today, and all our guests, distinguished visitors, and family members. It's a wonderful honor to have you all here. I'd like to begin by telling you how we arrived here today. JTF-CS family collected nominations for our new building from our staff for the special honor, and Major Jamie Stowe from our surgeon's office was responsible for bringing forward Captain Mullan's nomination. You know, as I read the nomination, it became very apparent right away that Captain Mullan was the perfect choice to dedicate our building to. After speaking with Mrs. Mullan, I realized that her son was the type of person, very special person, that everyone meets at some point in their life, who helps shape who you are and who shapes who you will become. As I learned more about Michael, I learned he would have been a source of great inspiration to our folks here at Joint Task Force Civil Support, and as I mentioned before, an absolute perfect fit to this organization. So what better way to shape our future than to associate Michael's memory with this headquarters, charged with a no-fail mission and sacred trust of the American people. He was dedicated to his job, to his mission, and to serving others. He was devoted to his fellow firefighters, service members, and he was driven to helping others in the truest sense of service before self. In other words, no one is more perfect to represent what JTF-CS is all about. I can think of no better way to honor our command than through the larger-than-life presence of Captain Michael Mullan. 5 years prior to the tragedy of 9/11, he had already shown his bravery and was honored for rescuing several people from a burning apartment on September 16th, 1996. During the 9/11 terrorist attacks, he again answered the call to action by rescuing civilians and firefighters trapped inside the Marriott Hotel adjacent to the World Trade Center towers. On that day, Captain Mullan was serving as a member of the New York Fire Department's Ladder 12. In spite of an evacuation order, he continued to answer the distressed call of his fellow firefighters on floors above his location. He gave his life that day trying to save them. The actions of this brave American and countless others like him must not be forgotten. Now, recognizing these acts of bravery is especially significant today because we're celebrating the 237th birthday of our United States Army. Today's a day to salute America's Army, the strength of our nation. How appropriate, because Captain Mullan was truly Army strong. Remembering a 9/11 anniversary ceremony that was being held in Afghanistan by his former unit, 344th Combat Support Hospital, Captain Mullan was revered by his fellow friends and colleagues and soldiers as a soldier's soldier. So let's join in celebrating the Army's birthday and give thanks for the countless Army-strong soldiers dedicated to serving our nation. Following 9/11, the creation of the Department of Homeland Security changed the landscape of disaster preparedness and emphasized the need for Joint Task Force Civil Support. Today's dedication highlights the true nature of the Joint Task Force Civil Support mission and how critical it is to be ready to respond at a moment's notice. Our ability to deploy and effectively assist civil authorities in the wake of a chemical, biological, radiological, or nuclear incident has never been more important. JTF-CS is an indispensable member of our nation's partnerships across state, local, and federal lines, and our resolve to maintain our highest standards of disaster preparedness has never been stronger. Today's another day of commitment for us. I'm excited that every day when we pass through the lobby of Mullan Hall, we'll be reminded of our core values: professionalism, honor, loyalty, and service before self. We continue to accept the daily challenges as we stand ready to support our fellow Americans in their time of need. We pay homage to another shining example of heroism in our nation's history. Most of all, we pledge to do what is right and necessary to protect our families, our friends, and our nation. Captain Michael Dermot Mullan and the many other American heroes who gave their last measure of devotion in an attempt to save others have taught us what it means to stand at the ready and act when needed. Please join me once again in honoring this brave soldier and his family with the official opening of Mullan Hall. Thank you all for being here.
The Fire Department, New York, guest speaker for today's ceremony is Battalion Chief Thomas C. McCarthy.
Mike would be very happy about this honor. In fact, if Mike was here, the first thing he would do is go to the general and suggest an upgrade of the sign at the front gate. He'd want it to read, Fort Eustis, home of Mullan Hall. I did some research. According to Army regulations, the intent of the Army Memorial Program is to provide lasting honor and pay tribute to deceased Army, military, and civilian personnel with records of outstanding and honorable service. This chapter goes further to state that one of the goals of this program is to present them as inspirations to their fellow soldiers, employees, and other citizens. The naming of this building as Mullan Hall will easily accomplish that goal. When we look at all that Mike has accomplished in a short time here, we are inspired. Mike's serious and caring side led him to become a registered nurse. He wanted to help people in a direct way. As a nurse, he was professional in his approach, but he was known for his personality that always shined through. He made sure everyone had a smile when he left the room. This was especially true for the elderly and very young patients, who Mike always had an extra reserve of care for, no matter how busy the ward was. In his military career, Mike was promoted to the rank of captain. He had a distinguished service record, and he was liked and respected by all he served with, either ranks above him or below him. The military appealed to Mike's extremely patriotic side. In fact, after I read in the papers of another successful drone strike, I could hear Mike copying John Sterling, the voice of the Yankees, in his famous call, "The Yankees win, the Yankees win." Mike got on the loudspeaker at the firehouse after every Yankee victory and did that with the intent of annoying the Met fans. Mike's career as a firefighter was marked by his caring and professional conduct and his strong pride in his company, Ladder 12. Well, I'd be stretching the truth a bit if I said he was always professional in his conduct. When there was downtime, you could count on Mike's jokes, funny remarks, and pranks. But when the bells came in, he was all business. Mark Twain said, "Humor is mankind's greatest blessing." If this is true, Mike blessed more people than the Pope. Mike always tried to make a difference in all of his careers. One example comes to mind. We had an electrical fire in a hotel in Midtown. It was late at night, and all the guests had to wait outside for an extended period. I started a conversation with one of the tourists, and I told him, "I'm sorry to see that your family vacation had to end like this." He said, "No, this is the best part of the vacation." And he pointed over to the rig. Mike was on the fire truck with his two kids, fire helmets on, and they were laughing at his jokes. There is a wonderful explanation why Mike chose this mix of careers. Mike chose the military to honor his father. He chose nursing to honor his mother, and he chose firefighting to honor himself. Most people are satisfied with one career. Mike had three, and he excelled in all. Mike loved his family and would do anything for them. He made sure he got off to attend every family party. Mrs. Mullan thought that Mike put the florist kid through college with all his flower purchases. Mike also had other interests in which he was very accomplished. He really made the most of his time. Mike was self-taught on the piano. Only someone dedicated to his goal and willing to persevere can reach the top of such a difficult mountain. And Mike played beautifully. And he always started with great balls of fire. He applied the same determination to excel in Gojo-Ryu, an extremely difficult style of karate to master. He gave 100% when training and often traveled to Japan to learn from the karate experts. I know Mike's doing this with the wind. Mike routinely exhibited many qualities like honor, dedication, selfless service to others, caring, a sense of humor. I have to say that twice to really describe Mike. And a strong love of family and country. Mike effortlessly lived these traits, and he did this so well. Mike Mullan's life and its direction will inspire anyone entering Mullan Hall. Thank you.
At this time, Chief McCarthy and the Fire Department New York would like to present some gifts to Major General Tracy and Joint Task Force Civil Support.
Yes. General Tracy, we are overwhelmed, and as a representative of the Fire Department, I gratefully present this helmet to you. The number 343 represents the firefighters we lost on 9/11, and we'd just like to, again, thank you so much for everything you've done.
Chief McCarthy, we're honored to have you here. Thank you very much.
The Fire Commissioner regrettably cannot make it, and he sent this letter. I'd like to read it to you. Dear Major General Jonathan T. Tracy, in the days after the attack on our country on September 11, 2001, the FDNY adopted the phrase, never forget, a simple pair of words that hold immeasurable power and meaning. You have never forgotten what happened that day, and you have helped to ensure that no one will. As a small token of our gratitude to you, we are presenting you with a fire helmet, the universal symbol of firefighting. After September 11, 2001, as Chief of Operations, I commissioned the FDNY Quartermaster to design a helmet to honor the 343 FDNY members killed in the line of duty that day. This helmet's front piece displays the number 343, where a member's company number would normally be placed. The number 911 is placed where a member's badge number would be, and that represents the badge numbers of the members we lost on September 11, 2001. The 343 helmet represents the tradition of the New York City Fire Department and stands as an enduring symbol of our supreme sacrifice made by the 343 FDNY members on that September 11, 2001. On behalf of the entire New York City Fire Department, we thank you for honoring Michael D. Mullan in a way that ensures that future generations will remember his courage, dedication to duty, and selfless service. Thank you, sir. Additionally, another letter from the Commissioner. Dear Major General Tracy, in honor of Michael D. Mullan, United States Army Reserve Captain and New York City firefighter, who made the supreme sacrifice on September 11, 2001, please accept this gift from Mullan Hall, a piece of steel recovered from the World Trade Center site after the terrorist attack of September 11, 2001. The idea for a WTC shadow box was originally conceived by Lee Ielpi, father of fallen 9/11 firefighter Jonathan Ielpi, as a way to give back to those who saw us through those dark days. As we move forward, we will continue to keep the memory of the members we have lost fresh in our minds. The recovered steel is a symbol of the resilience of our members and our city. We thank the United States Army for honoring Michael D. Mullan in a way that ensures that future generations will remember his courage, dedication to duty, and selfless service. Thank you, sir.
Just a quick moment of thanks. It's a wonderful honor and a great privilege to be part of the extended family of the New York City Fire Department. Chief, thank you very much.
Ladies and gentlemen, the Commonwealth of Virginia guest speaker for today's ceremony is the Honorable Bobby Scott, Congressman, 3rd District.
Good morning. As a former member of the U.S. Army Reserve, I'm incredibly honored to be here with the members of our military, our civilian support personnel, our visitors from New York, and other first responders. And I see Delegate David Yancey, a distinguished member of the House of Delegates, with us today, and certainly Captain Mullan's family, to remember a true American hero with today's dedication of this new facility. And as we honor a hero, it's also significant that we do this on Flag Day as we honor our national flag. More than a decade ago, the lives of nearly 3,000 Americans of all ages, races, and religions were cut short by 3 horrific terrorist attacks on our nation. Americans will never forget the crumbling towers of the World Trade Center in New York City, the gaping hole of the flames on the west side of the Pentagon, or the charred remains of the United Airlines Flight 93 in a field in Pennsylvania. During the immediate aftermath of these terrorist attacks, Americans did not cower in fear, but instead stood united. Police officers, firefighters, other first responders acted heroically as they rushed into the burning World Trade Center and the Pentagon without hesitation to save the lives, many of whom were complete strangers. Today we honor one of the 340-some New York City firefighters who lost their lives in the line of duty on September 11, 2001. Captain Michael Mullan's heroism and dedication on his job were certainly not unique on that day, but his decorated career as both a firefighter and a reservist certainly showed. And while thousands were running out of the World Trade Center and surrounding buildings, Michael Mullan was rushing in to do his job to help evacuate people and save lives. He saved countless lives that day and ultimately sacrificed his own life, attempting to save his fellow firefighters who were trapped 2 floors above him in the Marriott Hotel located near the base of one of the Twin Towers. Our world has certainly changed as a result of that fateful day. Thousands of men and women dedicated their lives to our nation by deciding to enlist in the military to protect and defend our nation, as Captain Mullan did 15 years before September 11th, when he joined the U.S. Army Reserve. Over the past decade, these men and women have been pulled away from their education, their jobs, their families, to serve multiple tours of duty in Iraq and Afghanistan. Like Captain Mullan, many other first responders on 9/11, many of these men and women in uniform also made the ultimate sacrifice. And when we talk about sacrifices, we cannot forget the sacrifices of spouses, children, and other family members that are left behind. To the men and women in uniform today and our first responders and their families who are with us today, thank you for your service and dedication to our communities and to our nation. Words alone cannot express the gratitude of your fellow citizens. And this is why it is fitting that the Joint Task Force Civil Support's new headquarters is named in honor of Captain Mullan. This Joint Task Force's mission is to deploy and provide military assistance and support to civilian authorities in the event of a chemical, biological, radiological, or nuclear or other high-yield explosive incident in the United States. Having its new headquarters bear the name of both a firefighter and an Army captain underscores the critical importance of this unique Joint Task Force both to our military and civilian authorities. Captain Mullan represented the best of our nation. His dedication to his community, his country, and his fellow citizens are testament to the strong character of both Americans' military and civilian first responders. His memory will live on not only here at Fort Eustis, but through his family, his fellow firefighters, and his fellow reservists. Thank you again for the opportunity to honor the memory of a true American hero. Thank you very much.
At this time, please stand as Major General Jonathan T. Tracy and Mrs. Teresa Mullan come forward for the citation. Attention to citation. Citation to Mrs. Teresa Mullan on behalf of Captain Michael D. Mullan, United States Army. Today we gather to dedicate Mullan Hall, Building 1504, Joint Task Force Civil Support, Joint Base Langley Eustis, Newport News, Virginia, in memory of Captain Michael Dermot Mullan, a United States Army officer, emergency room nurse, and decorated New York City firefighter cited for bravery. During the September 11, 2001 terrorist attacks in New York, Captain Mullan gave his life rescuing civilians and firefighters trapped inside the Marriott Hotel adjacent to the North and South Towers of the World Trade Center. Captain Mullan's heroics were part of a pivotal event in our history that resulted in the creation of the Department of Homeland Security and changed the landscape of disaster preparedness and civil support. This brave officer was dedicated to saving lives, and the Joint Task Force Civil Support Mission continues that commitment every day. Captain Mullan served honorably in the United States Army Reserve for 15 years and distinguished himself in service to the New York City Fire Department for 7 years. Captain Mullan embodied the core principles and life-saving spirit of Joint Task Force Civil Support. We are honored to dedicate our building in his name. Welcome to Mullan Hall. Ladies and gentlemen, please take your seats as Major General Tracy and members of the Mullan family move to the Mullan Hall plaque for the official unveiling. The plaque is in memory of Captain Michael D. Mullan and stands as a lasting tribute to his heroism and sacrifice. It is prominently displayed directly outside the main entrance to the Joint Task Force Civil Support Headquarters for all to see. Major General Tracy will now unveil the Mullan Hall plaque with the Mullan family members. Captain Mullan was devoted to his fellow firefighters and service members, and he was driven to helping others in the true sense of service before self. His bravery and this Mullan Hall dedication are made even more significant this day as we celebrate Flag Day and the Army's 237th birthday, saluting America's Army, the strength of the nation. Captain Mullan was truly Army strong. Ladies and gentlemen, it's my privilege to present Captain Michael Mullan's mother, Mrs. Teresa Mullan. Thank you.
I belong to a family support group of parents that lost their firefighter sons on 9/11, and one of the members was a retired educator, and she wanted us to write stories of our sons, not to focus on 9/11, but to tell the story of what they were like as little boys growing up and what led them to 9/11. This is my story of my son, Michael. Age 5. Michael, what do you want to be when you grow up? A motorman on a big train. Age 10. Michael, what do you want to be when you grow up? A catcher for the New York Yankees like Thurman Munson. Age 15. Michael, what do you want to be when you grow up? I want to play the piano like Jerry Lee Lewis and get all the girls. Michael spent his grammar school years filled with CYO basketball, bowling, swim team, Boy Scouts, altar boy, and music lessons, along with daily games of wiffle ball on Jordan Street and causing general mayhem in school that resulted in calls from his teachers. Mrs. Mullan, you must come to see me. We have to discuss Michael's behavior. I would very politely reply, no, thank you. I know Michael's behavior, And there is nothing you can tell me that I would disagree with or be surprised by. It seems Michael had a knack of sending his classmates into gales of laughter and his teacher's hair to turn permanently gray. After being scolded and privileges denied, Michael would look at me with his big blue eyes and repentant face and say, "I'll never do it again, Mom, I promise." Well, that lasted a week. Michael turned in the same Hardy Boy book report for 3 years in a row. 4th, 5th, and 6th grade. In the 7th grade, Sister Albin announced, no Hardy Boy or Nancy Drew books reports will be accepted. Well, Michael finally had to read a book. And I do believe that Hardy Boy book report was his brother's. So, despite all his mischief, Michael had a kind and thoughtful nature. He shoveled snow for elderly neighbors and did errands, always giving a helping hand. He had a paper route to earn his own spending money and always helped his sister with her penny saver route. On rainy days, he would do the delivery for her. Holy Cross High School was 4 years of fun for Michael. I didn't get any disciplinary calls during these years because the brothers knew how to channel his exuberant energy. He joined many after-school activities, including the orchestra, the jazz band, and the yearly Broadway stage productions. He was the fiddler in Fiddler on the Roof, Asher in Joseph and the Technicolor Dreamcoat, a chorus dancer in Chicago, and Riff in West Side Story, enjoying every minute he was on stage. At 16, summer jobs were hard to come by, so Michael signed up for summer duty at a cerebral palsy camp in Rock Hill, New York. New campers arrived every 2 weeks needing total care, feeding, bathing, dressing, and exercise. He carried out every task required for the well-being of his charge. He finished the summer with much praise from the staff for a job well done. I believe Michael's nursing roots were planted during that summer. After graduating from high school, Michael joined the United States Army. Mom, I've been in school all my life. I need a break. At that point, I used to say to him, what life are you talking about? You're 18. You don't have a life. However, it did turn out to be a good fit for Michael. He responded well to the discipline, learned to be focused, and set goals. His adventurous spirit earned him a parachute badge for completing 3 jumps. Boot camp finished, Michael returned home on leave. He was eager to see his teachers at Holy Cross and show off his uniform. After a pleasant visit and well wishes, he said goodbye. On his way out, he passed the detention room with 12 sad-faced students, heads down, busily writing a torturous assignment. Michael, as mischievous as ever, stepped into the room and with a very authoritative voice said, "Gentlemen, you are dismissed." Instead of the expected laughter and the, "oh yeah, sure," the 12 students picked up their books, flew past Michael, nearly knocking him over in their rush to the front door. Michael stood there dumbfounded. What did I do? I better get out of here quick before the brothers come back. He too ran to the front door. When Brother Stephen returned to an empty classroom, he quickly discovered a man in an Army uniform dismissed everyone. Now, after 4 years, I get a call from the principal's office at Holy Cross High School. "Mrs. Mullan, as much as we appreciate seeing our alumni, blah, 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 blah." My first thought was, oh no, Michael, what did you do now? How am I going to tell your father? Suddenly I realized Michael was no longer a Holy Cross student. He was a soldier in the United States Army. He belonged to Uncle Sam now. The fire department, along with ambulance and paramedics, respond to all auto accidents. At the scene, a car and a FedEx truck collided. The driver of the car was on a stretcher awaiting transport to the hospital. He was very upset and becoming agitated. Michael went over to him to try to ease his anxiety. Looking at Michael, he said, "How long do you think they will keep me in the hospital? I have a business to run." "I can't stay in the hospital." Michael answered, "Sir, let us assess the situation. You have just been hit by a FedEx truck. You will absolutely, positively be there overnight." Michael's life continued to be filled with music, song, and dance. He loved playing the piano and did a terrific imitation of Jerry Lee Lewis. He was attending Hunter College to attain a Bachelor of Science degree in nursing. His goal was to become a nurse practitioner. He also came up the ranks in the Army Reserve and was promoted to captain. While on duty one night in the emergency room at Mercy Hospital, a young boy of 8 years was admitted with a 104-degree fever. His name is Stephen. Michael was assigned to care for Stephen and was preparing an IV to help hydrate him and bring down the fever. Stephen was very sick and very scared, especially of needles. Michael told Stephen if he let him insert the IV, he would take him to his firehouse, dress him in his gear, let him slide down the pole, and sit up on the truck. "You can't be a fireman. You're a nurse," Stephen said. Michael crossed his heart and told him, "I promise you, Stephen, I am both." Stephen let Michael care for him, and before long his fever came down and he felt better, making a full recovery. Excuse me. 2 weeks later, Stephen and his mom went to Michael's firehouse and had a great day, doing all the things Michael had promised. Age 34. "Michael, what are you now that you are all grown up?" "I am a New York City firefighter. I am a registered nurse. I am a captain in the United States Army Reserves. I play the piano like Jerry Lee Lewis, and I get all the girls." "Happy is the man who is rich in good deeds, for he shall be honored and remembered long afterwards for his goodness." Thank you so much for honoring my son, Michael.
Good morning. I really wasn't expecting this to happen until the reception, so I'm a little at a loss. But I had written, the second year of 9/11, I had written a memorial to my brother, and I updated it every year, and I still update it. And it's called 10 Years Later, A Sister's Memorial. September 10th, 2001, the last day I would ever have my entire family on this earth. I went to work like every other day, not knowing that in a few short hours my life would be forever changed by a man who I had never known, a man who hated me and my way of life so much that he would destroy it. How could such a man exist when I didn't even know his name? From the time I got the news from my frantic mother, Michael is missing, nothing could ever be the same. Long nights, longer days, hours sitting by the television listening for the phone, prayers and tears, neighbors and family, soldiers and firefighters, reporters and strangers. My world expanded into a large hole filled with pain and those trying to ease it. Days passed and no Michael. Weeks passed and no remains. A month passed, and we were blessed with him being brought home. We could not view him. We could not hold him. We could not lay a kiss to his forehead one last time. All that was left us was a message on an answering machine as sirens blared all around. We're being attacked. I'm being sent in. I love you all very much. Goodbye. With those words, he left us and was given to God. Michael was my third brother, the big, tough guy I fought with and hit up for loans, the hero I looked up to who wiped away my tears and beat up any bully who crossed my path, the handsome man all the girls swooned over, who loved my grandmother so much that he left a part of his heart with her when she died. There are so few men in this world that truly know what it is to be a man. Michael loved his family, was loyal to his friends, would go into any fire to save any life. A registered nurse, a captain in the Army Reserves, a black belt, a big brother who never left me alone. Michael was a man. 10 years later, there are no towers, there is no peace. There is no Michael to call or argue with or hit up for loans. My brother is gone from this earth. He died as he lived, doing for others before himself. He lay with his fallen brothers amongst those he pledged to protect. 10 years later, the pain is still raw and the pride knows no bounds. What makes a person a hero? What makes a guy a man? What makes every day bearable? Bravery, faith, and the memory of a big brother who held my hand as a little girl and never ever let anyone hurt me. September 11th, 2011, 10 years later, Michael is watching me from above, giving me the courage to go on. 10 years later, my brother is still the hero he always was to a little sister who will miss him till the day she joins him in heaven. Thank you very much.
Chaplain Scott Daniel will now deliver the benediction.
Let us pray. Lord, we leave here knowing that we are never out of your sight. We thank you again for this day, for all of your promises, those that are kept and those that are yet to be fulfilled. We ask that you would walk with each of us, that we may be a blessing to someone we meet, like Michael Mullan. Let us bring glory to you and help to those around us. We pray all of these things in your mighty name. Amen.
Ladies and gentlemen, please remain standing for the departure of the official party. Please sing along as the U.S. Fleet Forces Band plays the Army Song. The words to the Army Song are on the back of your program. Ladies and gentlemen, Mullan Hall is now officially open as headquarters, Joint Task Force Civil Support.